Chris and his dad, Paul, have built one of South Florida's most successful plumbing and HVAC businesses, but they're turning down lucrative offers from private equity firms. Find out why in today's episode of Sweat Venture.
First of all, I never bought anything unless I could afford it. So when I needed a truck, I didn't do it on a loan, I bought it.
What is, when you look around the industry, maybe just in South Florida or the larger plumbing and HVAC industry, what's a mistake that you see other companies doing right now?
We have people that come here and they last 2-3 years and they want to go into business, and we help them. You know, even when they leave, they call us back and they ask us for help and we help them.
When you're talking about profitability and kind of getting the pricing in line, which aspect of the business is more profitable for you right now? Is it the plumbing or is it the HVAC?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest topic in our industry right now. Like, I think we're one of the few mid-sized businesses that haven't sold out. And I think in 5 years, it's going to be an advantage again.
If you decide not to sell, what makes you more confident that you can grow and scale the business and be more profitable for yourself than taking in some external outside investment? So Paul, you've been in business for 30 years now. How did you first get into the business?
I went to, from Connecticut originally.
Okay.
So I went to a technical vocational school. Went 4 years. That was my trade school. And then from there, I came down for spring break and never left.
Yep, that's how it gets most people, right?
So I was on the beach for a while, stayed there. And then I finally had to get a job, so I went into the union.
Okay.
I worked at union for about 12 years.
Okay.
Figured I didn't really want to work for anybody else anymore, so I went ahead and just started my own. I had 2 kids at the time, and just worked out of my truck and just went from there.
What was the inflection point like? Because I think a lot of people struggle with when the right time is to go out on your own and start your own business. Did you reach like a certain level of experience, or was it just out of necessity?
Well, absolutely, you do that, but I mean, it was just employers.
Sure.
And not, doing what they say they were going to do, and I wanted to be one myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you look back on those early days, did you have all the equipment that you needed when you were first starting out, or how did you finance the equipment that you needed to go out on your own?
Well, first of all, I never bought anything unless I could afford it. So when I needed a truck, I didn't do it on a loan. I bought it, and the same thing with my equipment. Over the years, it just grew and grew, and you end up with 1 person, then 2, then 3, and then he came to work and blew it up. So that's where we are today.
Nice. And how long after you first started did he come into the business?
And he went to college for about 10 years.
That's why he's so smart, right?
Yeah, after I got him out of school, then he came, and then he was still part-time. He thought he was still in college.
Okay.
But he came right out. What year did you graduate?
2008, it was a crazy story because I was a finance real estate major.
Okay.
And it was a terrible time to graduate and try to get a job.
In the South Florida especially, yeah.
Absolutely. So my dad, I came back kind of for a girl, and that ended up, he said, hey, why don't you come on board? And
I don't think I asked him. I think he just landed there.
Right.
Yeah. And then it kind of just happened organically and said, well, wow, we're, family-owned business, and this is something cool. What can we do with it?
Right. When you think back on those early days, is there a mistake or something that you learned that in hindsight you would have done differently when you first went out on your own?
Wow. That's a great question. You know what? I don't have any regrets. I mean, I a lot of trial and tribulations, but I mean, I just learned along the way.
Yeah.
Learned, and everything, just progressed. And like I said, when Chris came along, I was a no advertising, everything was word of mouth, because I used to coach back in the day.
Okay.
Young kids, and all of my work was from that. It was crazy that the town of Royal Palm just really, they came for me like you wouldn't believe. And then like when Chris, he's like, let's blow it up. And we started doing advertising, and we started painting the trucks a different color and doing all that stuff. And it's really grown because of Chris.
That's really cool.
Absolutely.
What is, when you look around the industry, maybe just in South Florida or the larger plumbing and HVAC industry, what's a mistake that you see other companies doing right now that if they fix that, their business would be better for them?
I just think that we really care about, I know it sounds like a cliche, but we really care about the customer. And we don't care, at the end, we're here to make money, but until they're happy, we go back, we help them, we fix it, we do whatever we can.
Yeah.
And I think that's what keeps us different from other companies.
Well, and going back to those Royal Palm days when you're getting all that word of mouth, right? That's how you got it, was making sure that everyone was taken care of.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So for someone that's out there, maybe they're graduating from college or they're looking to go into a blue collar career, not necessarily plumbing or HVAC, what advice would you give to someone watching this video that's maybe 18 years old and thinking about going into a trade?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to when this isn't like an easy trade. I mean when you start off, I mean it's a lot of work. It just seems like it's hard to find those people, especially the younger crowd that wants to come in here and put the time in.
Okay.
But I mean, can they do it? We have a young buck that's been with us for like 7 years. He was changing oil when he came to us.
Okay.
And now he's running all the men. It's crazy. He's like 26 years old, 27 years old. So he came from that background. If we can have more of those, it would be awesome. I mean, they should be in the trade.
So it's not necessarily about coming in and being an expert, but they have to have some sort of like intrinsic value, like hard work or things like that.
Absolutely. Show up.
Right. That's the first step,
right?
Right?
Yeah, it is, Yeah, we don't ask for much. We want them to have a driver's license and come in and we'll teach them. We'll train them. We've done that to several. We have people that come here and they last 2-3 years and they want to go into business and we help them. Even when they leave, they call us back and they ask us for help and we help them. Right. And it's been a real positive thing. It really has. It's been great.
So Chris, we got to talk to your dad a little bit. And you guys are a father and son business. Can you tell us about the early days of you coming into the business?
Yeah, so my earliest memories are, summers carrying my dad's tools in every home that we went into.
All right.
I mean, back when that was allowed, I was 12 years old, going to homes, carrying the tools. I just remember seeing like the smile on my dad's face, walking out of there knowing that he did a great job. So yeah, every summer I would do it. And I just, I learned my work ethic and my dad used to go to practice in his boots and his uniform. When a call came, he was gone, so yeah. Great early days.
So how did the business change when you got involved? Like what opportunities did you see when you came in to grow the business and kind of change the direction that you're going?
Yeah, so my dad was great technically. Like he knew it ins and out as far as put him against anyone as far as technically. When I came in, I wanted to work on the business, not in the business. So, things like we weren't on the computer yet. We were still doing, paper invoices. We didn't have a website. Things like that. So I really wanted to kind of bring us up to date and maybe even get ahead of the curve, something that, a lot of the small businesses weren't doing at the time.
Right.
So I got a lot of that knowledge just from college and networking, and so that was very helpful.
Were you guys always offering HVAC and plumbing services, or is that something that's evolved over time to offer both of those disciplines?
No, we would have probably never thought about going into HVAC. But we were able to kind of get procedures and structures in place to get us kind of like confident to even branch out to that. So we were going into a lot of homes like in South Florida, water heaters underneath an AC unit, and we were losing a lot of those bids, a lot of those jobs. And so we said, hey, let's start HVAC and start offering it. And so that was about 5 years ago now.
And how has that business grown for you? Has it springboarded off of the plumbing, and
Absolutely.
Is it 50-50 now, or like what portion of your business is it?
Yeah, so we're about 70-30 still, plumbing. And yeah, what happened was because of our, I think, great reputation in the area, a lot of plumbing customers just gave us the chance and just said, hey, we're going to try you. Plus, I think, with today's how people want things, like their time is valuable. Yeah. There's a need for companies that are offering multiple services because they want to deal with one company. So it's been great.
One of the mistakes we see businesses make is they don't follow up on invoices with clients. Jobber not only allows you to easily send invoices from your phone, but it will automatically follow up with unpaid invoices to make sure you're paid on time and your business runs smoothly. What role does your online reviews and kind of online reputation play in attracting new customers? And is that something that you actively work on?
Yeah, reputation management is huge. I mean, we really strive our customer service. So our reputation is all that we feel like we have, and we really stand on that. So yeah, we started really trying to build that. You know, it's okay to ask for reviews.
Right.
And whether it's a 5-star or a 1-star, you're going to learn something from either.
Right.
And so you shouldn't be shy from either.
Yeah. So could you describe your typical day or your typical week in running the business right now?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm here every day. I live up in Stewart, but I come down every day. It's more about management now. It used to be in the field, now it's management. You know, we're looking at KPIs. We're looking at things as far as how is the business actually doing on a day basis, and let's be proactive, right? Instead of reactive. So it's a lot of just management now, which is great.
So we talked a lot about the history of the business. Can you tell us about all the services that Cleary offers right now?
Yeah, so of course, plumbing and AC. So we used to do construction many years ago, and we've got out of that, and now our bread and butter is strictly commercial and residential service. So that's anything from a water heater change out to a clogged toilet to an AC drain line to an AC installation. And even more so, we have maintenance plans. And believe it or not, you wouldn't think there would be one on a plumbing, but most people don't realize that something as simple as a water heater needs to be flushed yearly. So we have maintenance plans yearly, semi-annual, quarterly, to kind of keep that customer base, you know, that reoccurring revenue, which is fantastic.
Can you tell us about CertainPath and what role that plays in your business?
Yeah, so CertainPath is like a national organization for plumbers, roofers, AC contractors, stuff like that. And it's all like-minded, you know, companies that come together and share their philosophies. You think there's companies within Palm Beach County that are a part of it. And we don't look at each other as competition. We look at how are we bettering our trade for the next generation, you know, to come.
Yeah, so it's like a networking and a learning opportunity to come and learn from other people that are also in the trade.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. So when we were talking about CertainPath, can you tell us a little bit more about how it's helped your business being part of that organization?
Yeah, the biggest thing was it got us out of the grind of construction, you know, waiting for your money, having very small margins. So their philosophy is more into the service sector. And along with that, they help you with like procedures, structures, the way, you know, what your margins should be. What are your key performing indicators that you should be looking for on a daily basis to know that your business is doing well, not just looking at the bank account and knowing there's money in there. Yeah. So it's been instrumental as far as how we do things, even from our inventory control, what our guys wear, how they look, our trucks, how they're wrapped. It's all kind of a philosophy within CertainPath. And so, you know, again, we've instrumental to our success for sure.
And is CertainPath just plumbing and HVAC, or is it all trades that exist?
Yeah, so it's roofers, HVAC, plumbers, and electricians. Yeah. Yep, they're based out of Sarasota and now Texas, and people all over the nation. I could literally go to Texas right now and visit another person's shop, and they would open me with welcome arms and see how they do things. Pretty cool.
You mentioned, and your dad talked a little bit earlier about the ducts you use and the wraps on your trucks and like how your techs are presented, you know, to customers and things like that. Can you tell us about how that all came to be as a plan? Did you design that, or did you work with an organization kind of develop the marketing plan?
Yeah, so I always had an idea. I mean, we're Irish, and you know, if you know Irish, we like to sometimes partake in happy hour. So with our logo, when we rebranded, we did something that kind of looked like a beer logo, almost like a sticker. And then, you know, the duck just kind of came on afterwards, and we named him Clover. And it's just been something that's helped us as we're growing. Now branding really matters now for us. You know, when you start out slow and you start out small, branding isn't usually what matters. You need the phone to ring. But now that we've kind of established ourselves with a reputation, branding matters. So you know, it does stick out. People remember the logo. They remember the duck, and people are like, when we come out seasonally, they ask for the new duck, you know, for the Easter duck or the Valentine's duck. So it's been pretty cool.
Right. That's a great marketing tool.
Yeah.
And it's probably sitting around there in their kitchen or something like that, so they remember you, you know, the next time.
And like I said, when we did the St. Patty's Day parade, we buy 6,000 ducks, and we're always empty by the time we're done.
That's
because
crazy.
People just are looking forward to it every year.
Very cool.
Yeah.
When we're thinking about CertainPath, and you think about originally going into that organization, was there something they said that instantly struck you and you're like, we need to change our business in this way to be more successful?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things I think is we had no direction or no structure on like, what we were doing every day. It was kind of like flyby. So, you know, when you're presenting all these structures and systems and things like that, we realized, oh my goodness, there's a better way to do this.
Yeah.
And it's okay to make money, and it's okay to make, you know, the profit margins to stay in business and feed our families and stuff like that.
Right.
And it was one of those things where I felt like by joining it, you kind of got to skip the line on mistakes, right? Because there's so many other people in the organization that have done what you've done. There's $100 million companies in certain paths. So, you know, you kind of skip the line on what not to do.
Yeah.
We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just adapting it to how, you know, we want to do it as far as Cleary wise. So that was huge.
When you're talking about profitability and kind of getting the pricing in line, which aspect of the business is more profitable for you right now? Is it the plumbing or is it the HVAC?
Yeah, definitely plumbing side.
Okay.
A lot of our tasks, like think of it as like a whole house repipe or a drain clog. There's not a lot of material cost involved in those. So we're talking a lot about labor and then a maintenance cost as far as on the equipment. So yeah, our margins are definitely better on the service side, just in general. That's why we got our construction. But yeah, definitely on the plumbing side. And we are learning every day on the AC side, and we've gotten better every year. Eventually, I think the AC sector or industry, you know, everyone looks at maintenances and service calls as kind of like the, you know, the side project, and everyone wants the install. Well, we've really taken what we've learned in the plumbing side and taken that on the HVAC side, and tune-ups and service calls, that's our bread and butter, not the install, which has been cool.
Okay.
And having guys buy into that, you know, is cool.
Yeah. When you go back to that first truck that your dad started, how much have you grown now? Like, what does the business look like? How many trucks do you have? How many techs do you have working for you?
Yeah, so when we started, when I came back, my dad was still working. He was working out of his house out in Wellington.
Okay.
He was always 1 to 2 trucks, and he was always stayed mostly busy through construction, and then of course the referrals from the fields, you know, from kids' parents and stuff like that. And then around 2012 is when we moved out and got our first location as far as an actual industrial park office.
Okay.
And since then, we've added HVAC 5 years ago, and we are sitting around like 30 plus employees. So
wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, congratulations. That's a huge amount of growth.
Yeah, it's been neat.
So we have an online course, and one of the most popular lessons is about profiting from your jobs and not losing money.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who owns a similar business or another trade business about how to get their expenses in line and, you know, turn losing jobs into profitable jobs?
Yeah, the biggest thing I would say is having confidence in yourself and the service that you provide. You know, a lot of times sometimes our technicians or even us, we think with our own pocketbooks, right?
Right.
And the biggest thing you can do is, you know, raise your level of service, right? Be the best that you can absolutely be, and make that, you know, I always say this, customers have to see value as far as you either have to meet or exceed expectations. And if you do that, price is always going to be a factor as far as whether you're going to get picked or not. But instead of being number 1, it goes down to like level number 3 or number 4 on the list of priorities. So, you know, really believing in yourself first and having confidence in the service. If you're going to provide crappy service, then you can't expect to get what you're expecting to get.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of scary to raise that price in the beginning because people are worried that they'll lose the volume.
For sure.
Right? I guess when you guys first raised prices, how did you deal with that kind of fear?
So the first thing that we did was, even before we raised prices, was we used a dispatch fee. We had never done that before. That was super scary. You know, charging someone, you know, $79 is what we do now, just to come out to the home. And we had to get over that initial shock ourselves and going, well, what, we're just going to charge people just to come out? And what it did was, one, it raised, again, our level as far as our service. And also, you know, not every customer is a customer for Cleary. And so what it did also is it helped kind of like, you know, weed that process out as far as who actually gets Cleary, the service that we're providing that red carpet type service.
Sure.
And if they get it right off the first phone call, we know that we're probably going to have a good experience in the home.
Yeah. A lot of business owners that we meet out there now are considering selling their businesses to private equity. If you decide not to sell, what makes you more confident that you can grow and scale the business and be more profitable for yourself than taking in some external outside investment?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest topic of our industry right now. Like, I think we're one of the few mid-sized businesses that haven't sold out. And I think in 5 years, it's going to be an advantage again. I think when everyone 5-10 years ago, when you used to say family owned and operated, that wasn't unique.
Everyone was family owned and operated.
Now we are unique again.
Yeah.
So I think the longer that we, hold strong, I think that's what people want. And then also, just keep on delivering the great service. And then also, one thing they're not doing is staying within the community, being involved in the community, whether it's sponsoring an event, coaching still, doing things like that. So we still have our boots on the ground in the community, which I think is really important.
And is that the negative of private equity, is that it just becomes a conglomerate and then you lose touch, in the market that you're in? Yeah,
I think, like corporate America, I think what we know about it is you kind of just become a number, right? And also like there is still, a skill, involved. There's a lot of skill involved in plumbing and HVAC and the trades, and corporate America is getting in and they're looking at bottom line numbers, and they're kind of sometimes neglecting the fact that like, hey, there's a lot of liability still, and the technical aspect of it is really important still.
Yeah. I talked about our online course. Would it be okay if I asked you a few questions
Sure.
for inclusion later in the course? Very cool. Do you want to launch a blue-collar business, but you feel stuck with no money, you don't know how to get customers, or maybe you need help buying trucks and equipment? Or maybe you already have a business, but you're grinding 70-hour weeks, barely paying the bills, and feeling trapped while other business owners are making real money? We know exactly how you feel, because we interview blue-collar businesses for a living, and we've seen it all. Guys who started a business and went broke, guys who crushed it from the get-go and made millions, and even guys who lost it and made it all back. By now, we can assure you that the most successful business owners are not just lucky. There are clear patterns that separate the businesses that fail from the ones that are massive successes. That's why we've created a course packed with the most important lessons we've learned over the years, including tips for financing your business, how to price jobs, when is the right time to scale to multiple trucks and crews, how to build your business so it pays even when you're not working. Plus, at the end of each lesson in the course, we're adding questions and answers with real business owners that we know personally, and more are being added each month. We're giving the first 50 people who register a 30% discount, so click the link in the description below to get started. So Chris, when you think back about getting involved in the business, a lot of people, money doesn't always motivate, you to get up every morning and drive a long ways to come to business. Sure. What's your why for why you are so driven to make this business successful?
One, I wanted to be different. I wanted to try to change the narrative of kind of specifically plumbing. Everyone thought of plumbers 10 years ago as a, plumber with a crack, right? And now it's kind of this glorified industry where private equity is getting into it. So I always just wanted to be the best. I'm a competitive at heart. I played sports my whole life. So the competition factor of just coming in and going, man, we're going to deliver the best no matter what. And so that was a driving factor. And then the two is always, provide for my family.
Sure.
Create an opportunity if my kids want to get into it. Daughters, but generational, opportunity for them also.
Yeah. So where do you see the business in 5 years from now? Where do you want it to be when maybe your daughters get involved down the road?
Sure. So like I said previously, I live up in Stewart. So one of our big goals is expanding.
Okay.
In 5 years or less, hopefully, we'll have a location somewhere in that St. Lucie County area. And go from there, even expand maybe into electric also. Like I said previously, I think consumers want that now instead of having three separate companies.
A one-stop shop.
Yeah, one-stop stop, especially with warranties, with our membership plans and our extended warranties and all that kind of stuff. It's nice to kind of have it, you go in that drawer, you have the TV, the microwave, all this stuff. You got to go to the drawer and figure out where you got it, who you got it from. So I think, there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. There's two types of businesses we come across, those who can scale and those who can't. We believe the best way for a home service, trade, or construction business to scale to $1 million business is by using Jobber. If you want 20% off your first 6 months, check out our custom link below. So Chris, this is your warehouse here.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about what you keep in the warehouse and then what you keep in your truck and kind of the role as being a warehouse on wheels?
Sure. Yeah, so we deal with a lot of emergencies, a lot of same-day service. So with that, we got to have the parts on the truck. So one of the things that we pride ourselves on is making sure our warehouse looks like a warehouse full of everything you could possibly need. So, one of the things that we do through our software is that when we are done with the job, they are responsible, our technicians, our team members are responsible for inputting everything they used.
Okay.
And within our software, we're able to get that report in real time, and then we're already replenishing it for them.
Interesting.
So it's already in a cubby for the next day for them to come here, replenish, and know that when they go to that simple job or that service call, that 90, those small parts that you just, oh my goodness, they're going to be on the truck.
So those parts have already been picked for them when they come back, and then they can just take that bin and restock.
Correct.
They don't have to go and find everything.
Nope, everything's already pulled for them, and it's right through our CRM software, which
That's
is really
cool.
So yeah, we have a warehouse manager. This is his office over here, and his responsibility is literally making sure we like to stock our warehouse, and then our warehouse stocks our vans. So even when a new team member shows up and he joins the team, when they get in that truck, they have the exact amount of parts and everything that they're responsible for, like everyone else, to be successful in the field.
Yeah.
So we have quantities. I mean, we take pride in this. We have, our quantities, our mins and maxes on Pro Press is kind of the new thing as far as, soldering is, we think about soldering and liability, smoke and fire. This allows us to be a little bit quicker. They're a little bit more expensive, but makes us much more efficient. So, we're talking anything service related. So we're talking about hose bibs and copper fittings, anything parts as far as showers, cartridges, for standard Moen Positemps and Kohlers. We install a lot of new shower valves and, a lot of free handle valves that can no longer be replaced. We're cutting in new valves same day for the customer. Some commercial service parts too for flushometers and things like that. And then we have toilet parts, anything toilet, from escutcheons to supplies. We have different size escutcheons. Some of the fixtures that we carry on the trucks, if we go to a kitchen faucet and they want one replaced, we got them on the truck to replace them same day. And then we go further and we start talking about more toilet parts, and then some of our sanitary parts. So we do a lot of camera inspections, a lot of root clogs with snakes and stuff like that. So we do a lot of on the site repairs. We locate it first with our cameras, and now we have all the fittings we could possibly ever need for repairs same day. And same with water heaters. We carry every type of water heater you can think of in stock. A customer wants hot water same night. They got to have the kids take a bath, right? So we're ready to rock and roll with a heater same day also. And we have a warehouse guy that'll literally, on a situation like that, they'll already have the heater loaded up in their truck. Technician's already draining the water heater, and he's bringing them a new water heater.
Wow.
So, that, again, we talk about customers' time is valuable. We really try to limit that. Even with we have 2-hour time slots. Like, that's kind of unheard of in the industry.
Interesting.
To be able to, but you need communication. You need to call beforehand. You need to call if we're running late. Are we going to be in the first part or the latter part of that time slot? So we really focus on the customer experience.
Chris, thank you so much.
Yeah,
it was really
appreciate
nice
it, man. Thanks so much.